Hello, and welcome to the Introduction to Chemistry presentation. The main topics covered in this presentation include a discussion of what chemistry is, the different types of research in chemistry, and the 5 main areas of study in chemistry. Let's start with the definition of chemistry. Chemistry is the study of the composition, structure, and properties of matter, the processes that matter undergoes, and the energy changes that accompany these processes. If we stop to break this definition down just a little bit, we can look at the individual parts and help you get a better feel for what chemistry is all about. When we talk about the composition of matter, we're talking about what is a substance made of? What are the different elements that might make up that particular substance? When we talk about structure, we're talking about how are the individual atoms or molecules arranged? For example, they might be arranged into a cubic crystal shape, such as a salt crystal. Properties of matter have to do with how the matter looks or how it behaves. Some examples of property of matter would include what color is the matter? Is it a good conductor of heat and electricity? Is this particular substance flammable? All those would be properties. The processes that matter undergoes, that's typically what we think of as the heart of chemistry. Processes that matter undergoes are chemical reactions. What does it react with and what is it capable of making? And we all know that there are often energy changes that are associated with chemical reactions. For example, a firework that explodes will give off energy in the form of light and heat as a result of that chemical reaction. So hopefully this helps you get a better idea of the scope of chemistry and what you might study in a chemistry course. Chemistry is a natural science as opposed to the social sciences like psychology or government that study people. Natural sciences help us to understand the world around us. Chemistry is a language with its own vocabulary. When you take a chemistry course, you'll be surprised at how many new vocabulary words you'll learn that might not come up in everyday conversation. Chemistry is certainly a way of thinking and problem solving. Chemists have to be able to think logically when they design experiments, and they also have to be able to collect data and look for trends in that data and think very critically about what the data is telling them and what they have found out. Lastly, chemistry is interesting and relevant to the real world. We all come into contact with different chemicals every day. Some of them might be perfectly harmless and make our lives better. Some of them might be very harmful chemicals that can make us sick. So we need to have some basic understanding of chemistry to be good, informed citizens. For some of you, chemistry might also be interesting because it might provide a career path. Perhaps you're interested in going into medicine or another science field. Chemistry research falls into 3 broad categories. We have pure or basic research, where data is collected for the sake of knowledge. This is just because we're curious, just because we want to know something. For example, if a chemist was studying what moon rocks are made of, that would probably be a good example of pure or basic research. We're conducting that type of research just because we want to know, not because we have a practical application in mind for the knowledge. Compare that to applied research, where data is being collected with the purpose of solving a problem. In applied research, we're conducting this experiment because there is a goal in mind. An example of applied research might be a pharmaceutical company who develops a new drug. They've recognized that there is a disease, and they are conducting research with the express purpose of developing a drug that would combat the disease. Lastly, some chemists engage in theoretical research. This uses math or computers to model or predict chemical behavior or properties. It might not always be feasible to conduct a lab experiment, but using theoretical research, we can still make predictions. Also realize that sometimes chemists start off by just doing pure research, but at a later point, that pure research and that knowledge that was gathered might have a practical application and be applied as technology. Many of the new technologies that make your life easier, such as solar cells or the battery in your cell phone, started off as pure research, which was later applied and given a practical application. There are 5 main areas of study in chemistry, and we are going to talk through each of these main areas. The first main area of study is organic chemistry. This is the study of compounds that contain the elements carbon and hydrogen. Organic chemistry is often called the chemistry of life because life is carbon-based. Some examples of organic chemistry include petroleum, plastics, medicine, and food chemistry. Inorganic chemistry, on the other hand, is an area of chemistry which studies compounds that are not carbon-based. Most anything that you can think of that is not alive would fall under the category of inorganic chemistry. A few examples include gems or other metallic minerals such as copper or aluminum. Physical chemistry combines our understanding of chemistry along with physics and math to help us study the changes in energy that happen to matter. Some examples of things that a physical chemist might study include lasers, or how a combustion engine in your car takes the chemical energy of gasoline and turns it into heat and work which power the car. Analytical chemistry is an area of study that looks at the substances present in a sample and how much is there. The substances present are a part of qualitative analysis, just knowing which elements are in the sample. Actually calculating the quantities of exactly how much is there of each particular element would fall under quantitative analysis. Forensic science relies heavily on analytical chemistry. For example, if a strange white powder was found at a crime scene, a forensic scientist would be able to use their knowledge of analytical chemistry to identify the strange white powder. Nutritional analysis might look at how much salt is in the food that you eat. Water quality testing might look at how much arsenic is in well water. Those would be good examples of analytical chemistry. Lastly, biochemistry is the study of chemical processes in living organisms. For example, the digestion happening in your stomach, the photosynthesis in a plant, and the spread of cancer through cells would all be examples of biochemistry. Hopefully this presentation has helped you get a better sense of what chemistry is, and especially the different areas of study that a chemist might engage in.